Viewer discretion is advised.
We are live, and sorry, we are running a little bit late. When I say we, I mean me, because I was changing out things, making things better, being a better human, you know, all the good things that I'm legally required to do as being friends with Envy here. But happy Saturday, you're listening and or watching Pwnecast. This is episode 255. We are in patch 8.2, though all the 8.25 on the PTRs has got everybody is stirring. Tonight we're going to be talking about what's going on around Azeroth, class tuning, because that's been a big deal. It's actually been quite funny to watch. And a question for the masses. Will we or will we not see an announcement at BlizzCon for the next expansion? Because there's been much discussion over the likelihood of that. But we have that and much, much more, so make sure you guys stay right here.
In 2014, a crack commando unit was banned from trade chat for comments they didn't make. These men and women promptly escaped from the Stormwind stockades to the Ironforge underground. Today, still hunted by the trolls of trade chat, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, then maybe you can hire the Pwnecast. Leader and brains of the operation, it's Bell.
I want tacos so bad.
I just went in there, and Hector is gonna be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines. And on top of that...
With the Pwnecast team assembled, let the battle for Azeroth begin.
Hey guys, this is Bajira, and you're listening to Pwnecast.
So obviously, I thought I had more time to do the intro, but the problem with so many changes is I version my files for the intro, right? So I go to what logically in Bellbrain should be the latest version, and I go to edit things, and I find out that I edited the wrong intro. This whole time, I edited the wrong intro. Now, this is just a temporary intro because I got to get my guy to record something for Envy, but I needed to put a placeholder in there, and I have Envy's cartoon being done. So that will get adjusted as soon as I have an addition to be made there.
Oh, that was glorious. I needed that.
So I was thinking, well, what can I put in placeholder until I get audio to introduce?
Just an awkwardly dropping Pugsley, if you will.
And did you hear the audio?
I didn't. I was too busy.
You didn't even hear the audio?
For one, I have my sound muted. I don't think I would have heard it because I was taking the hit at the same time.
That was the best part.
Oh, man.
That was
I'll
absolutely
rewatch it.
the best part of what it was. It was really random, and I just chopped it in there. It was the Hector clip. So it made it even funnier. But yes. Anyway, so I'm trying to do a better version of adulting, but yeah.
She's having a rough time right now.
But I've been super accomplished today. I got a lot of things done. Like, I did the outro credits are even changed, guys. I did also change all the live sin stuff, so it reflects just me and Envy and not everybody else, though it's going to take about 24 to 48 hours for all the different things on the podcast internet machine to update the new stuff. I did the Kickstarter surveys, though I haven't sent them out. They're done. I just wanted to proofread and make sure that they were correct. I'm still waiting for final art. I'm going to kick my art guy and see what's good. But I'm going to send the surveys out anyway because I feel like it's not really that big of a deal if I send the surveys out now. It's not, it's not a big deal. And I've been Pinteresting stuff for
look at you,
Envy's wife, so that we can finalize the decorations and both of us can get started on what we're doing. Guys, I was productive today.
You know your productivity affects me too, right? Like when you and my wife talk about like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, it always ends up with my wife turning to me and be like, so we need this because Belle needs this, so we need to go to the store, or I can do it, I just need to know which card to use.
Yeah, because she's the real MVP and she loves me. Oh my god, we got a sub. Hold on, let me get this donkey roll.
Donkey roll. Let me see that donkey roll.
Okay, now that we got that out of the way. Everybody needs a good donkey roll in their lives. Thank you for the 8th month in a row sub. But yeah, I'm doing big things. Like, I'm doing big, huge things. I even tweeted about DitchCon because I realized I haven't tweeted. I'm like, oh, does anybody even know that Universe is open? And to that end, before we get into the WoW stuff that we're going to be talking about today, the RSVPs are up on the Universe website, so make sure that you RSVP. If you're not going to BlizzCon and you are going to be in and around the Anaheim area the week of BlizzCon, come and party with us anyway, because this is what we do. We party like rock stars. Kind of. This
Sure.
BlizzCon is going to be, it's going to be a really weird one, because a lot has changed since last year's BlizzCon, not even just on the Blizzard side, which that vibe kind of feels different too, so I'm a little bit nervous. I'm nervous how this is going to go. Like, is anybody even going to show up for the party? Which is really, those are scary things to be concerned about, because we don't really know what we're walking into. Because there's just a lot of stuff that's going on. But we're going to keep on forging ahead and doing what we do, because that's how we roll. But yeah, I've been super productive today, and it's actually been a little bit scary, because I woke up kind of on one and ready to do stuff. My husband let me sleep in, and I really don't like it when he lets me sleep in, because I don't get as much done.
But we appreciate him for it.
But we do, and it's I can't even be mad about it, because he's a good man for doing those things. And yeah. So if you guys hear a random little girl screaming, my niece is here. My brother Dominic's daughter's here. I got suckered in last night to letting her stay the night tonight, because they, you know how your family members put you on the spot, and they're like, oh, she really wants to stay the night with you, and you're like, oh, because she's 3 and she's a terror, but I love her. She's an adorable terror. But yeah, she's been ripping through this house like a goddamn tornado all day, literally all day.
I don't have that problem. I moved to a completely different state for that reason, and because I like money and working and having a meaning instead of wiping hours on end, and, which still happens with the job regardless. But you should consider moving to a different state, somewhere where it's not as hot and doesn't require 13 hours.
I don't mind the heat. The heat isn't, I mean, here's the reality. The reality is heat makes people grumpy. Like, this is not the best place to be living in if you are already in an agitated state of mind, because the heat will make you 100% want to kill somebody. Like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on Twitter or Twitch, I mean, but I did anyway, so there's that. But yeah, the heat will make you kill somebody. Like, you're hot, it's grumpy. And yes, Dolph, I was productive.
I know it's hard to believe, but it happens every once in a while.
Though I do consider moving to Colorado occasionally, and it's only because I really like the weather in Colorado.
Golf ball sized hail. It snows like one day.
I don't particularly fancy the hail. That's not a part of what I love, but
it snows one day, it's like sunny the next, and then 30 minutes later it snows like 6 feet. 20 minutes later it's all gone. Yeah, you enjoy Colorado.
That's pretty much how it is here, though. Like, we don't get the snow, but the weather changes quite rapidly. So, we even cleaned I didn't clean the pool. I just gave my husband the tools to be successful to clean the pool.
Oh, and I see Nova's in the channel, by the way. My birthday. My boys against your boys. And I got tickets. I'm sorry. I'm just happy that football's back. And we raid on Sundays, which is going to be rather difficult for me, so... And Mondays. Jesus, woman, you took both days away from me.
I say
and
KK.
Saturdays.
To answer Kitty before Kitty has to go, I say KK. And the reason I say KK is because it is one less K to make me racist.
You know, back in my hometown, we had like this little shop owned by I hate to call it as it is, but a couple of white people, redneck-ish.
Oh, that's extremely racist.
The truck was parked up front and all the deal, but they had a shop and it was kick-ass and anybody could go in, but it was called Kimbrough's Country Corner. And their last name, Kimbrough, started with a K. Subsequently, every first letter afterwards was also a K. So it didn't really help their cause.
Wait, is your birthday's not today, is it?
No, it'll be the 19th.
Oh, okay. Whew.
Speaking of which, I'm not raiding that day. I'm not going to be sober.
I wouldn't expect you to. No, I don't really know why people say KK. It's more like
Totes.
I don't know. I get annoyed when you text this really long thing or this big long message, and then you just get like a 1 or 2 word response. And I'm guilty of doing that. And then I realize the reason people do that is because they're busy when they're responding. And if I waited until I was ready to respond, I would forget to respond to people, which is quite often. Because if I read the message, whether it's whatever avenue I'm being messaged on, if I don't respond right then and there, I'm going to forget. And then because the unread message is gone, I won't remember until I'm going to message person about said thing. And I'm like, oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm not an asshole. I mean, I am, but not, you know. But I do understand now why people do the 1 and 2 word responses. Is because they want to acknowledge when I guess I could just say, let me get back to you.
Well, it's kind of weird because, like, you even got stoner talk, right? Like, if you ask me if I want to go here and I say no, that's me sober. Which, it's a 2-letter word, no. But if I'm stoned as balls, hey, you want to go here? Nah. It's more letters, more nah.
KK, I don't know. I guess it's just something I picked up because I do the KK.
Are we gonna start rating that way too? Like, hey, Belle, do you know what it do? Yeah, KK. For shizzle my nizzle.
But if I did 3 Ks, then it would be racism.
Or you'd be a store where I grew up in California.
There's a store with 3 Ks where you grew up in California?
I just explained it. Kimbrough's Country Corner.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I suffer
Squirrel,
from...
yes. Right? You have short-term memory.
I suffer from squirrelism. Is that a real thing? Is that a medical diagnosis?
No, but in Mechagon, there are these, like, exploding squirrels
Yep.
that, like, daze you, and that's pretty much how you leave me when you fuck about and raid.
Listen, the last couple raids I've been doing pretty great. If I could just get Monday under control, I'll be just fine. Like, I just need to get Monday under control, and I'll be just fine. Like, tomorrow, I'm going to go do my Sam's Club stuff early, because on Sundays is when I do my things, and because raid is at 4:30 my time until October, then it'll be 5:30. That hour actually makes a difference. It doesn't seem like it does, but it does. But I don't usually, like, get ready to go and do things until the afternoon. So here we are. Now, let's talk about some things. For Tuesday's reset, which is going to be August 13th, the Battleground bonus event, that's relatively easy. Go in and get it done. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort. If you are on the opposite of a heater and you're losing every single Battleground, I would log off for a few hours and then attempt it again, because it's been in my experience that you're generally going to suffer losses back to back like that for a couple of hours, because you're going to be queuing with the same fucking idiots in your battle group for whatever length of time those same fucking idiots are queuing. Like, you're not going to win every Battleground, but if people aren't listening to strategy, and, there's always half of the team is not where they're supposed to be. They're either fighting on roads, or they're off doing some strategy that they were told in a YouTube video is the best of the best, and, they're going to be the hero, talking shit to you in chat, telling you to get good. And you're like, that's weird. I'm the only one doing the strategy. But it's been in my experience that instead of just smashing your head against the keyboard in frustration, just attempt again. And then when you get on a heater, when you get on a good one, and you are back-to-back winning, you don't stop until you lose. Because you got to ride that lightning while the lightning is good.
Yeah, so if you see me in your group, just log off for a couple hours. You don't want me in your group.
KK thinks bye. Yeah, it is ADD, actually.
It's something. You need cocaine. Do you need, like, Ritalin?
No, but I did. So when I went out of town the 26th, 29th, I don't fucking know. But I was supposed to fill my prescription that Friday because my doctor's not in on the weekends, and he has to physically fill my ADD meds. Well, I forgot. I'm going to be in Chicago until the 3rd at this point, and I'm like, I'm not going to have any meds. This is a really bad time to dry run. Like, this is not the time to see how your body reacts without your medication. So I had to call my brother. My brother takes like 10 milligrams more of what we take. And so I borrowed 3 of his pills. So when I went to see my doctor the other day, he said, hey, I filled your prescription, but I know it was late. What happened? And I just said, well, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I took my brother's meds. He's like, oh, are they the same ones? I'm like, yeah, no, it's the exact same prescription. It's just 10 milligrams over. And I go, and I took those on Saturday and Sunday. And I just basically made it where I didn't, because I didn't know how I was going to react to the higher milligrams either. So he was like, well, I'm not supposed to say that that's fine, but that's fine. I'm like, well, I'm not going to lie to you about it. He goes, well, most people wouldn't tell me. Why? I didn't do a bad thing. It's not like I'm trying to buy a ball of heroin from the drug dealer because I ran out of my meds. Like, perspective here, it wasn't that big of a deal. But anyway, so, Battleground bonus event, make sure you get it done. Don't forget, if you're going to do these things, to pick up the quest, because...
You want to tell the story, or should I?
Oh, you can tell the story. I will let you make me look terrible on the internets.
You do that well yourself.
I know, you're right. You're right.
I was bored earlier in the week. The Alex was in flight, so I really had nothing to do.
No, don't let him pretend like he doesn't want to be my friend and he wasn't doing something to be my friend. Because this mofo went out of his way to message me. He went out of his way, okay? And he doesn't go out of his way for anyone.
I did say Alex was in flight, so you got the text message.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, so I texted her. She logs on. I have line. She does not. She's not in war mode. I never was. I get on my 2-seater mount and take her places. We do our dailies and whatnot. Najatar went by rather smoothly. We get to Mechagon, which she really doesn't typically do, and that was interesting. I basically had to hold her hand the entire time, but we get to a spot, it's up in the mountains, where you gotta kill all these birds, and kill 12 of them. I killed all 12. Like, sweet, let's go to the next area. Wait, why am I not getting credit? Oh, fuck me! And she didn't get her goddamn quest. So don't be a statistic. Don't be Belle. Get your quest.
To be fair, when you're riding with somebody who is being a nice human and taking you around so that you could get shit done faster...
Belle, it's not nice to lie to our guests that way.
The offset to that is you are on their speed at which they hit the quest giver. So when you're a little bit like trying to make sure you're picking everything up, or when you squirrel, when you drop down and you need to turn in the quest, like I just had a senior moment where I knew I needed to click on it, and then we were up and we were gone. And
considering the quest giver's right next to the mob.
I know. But I thought, why is the yellow text not coming up to the top telling me that we're completing stuff? And then I go, oh. Okay, I see what I did there. But it went relatively quick. I think maybe another 2-3 days of, like, Najatar should be done any time now. I think I'm 8,000?
8,000 out of 12. Okay.
Yeah, 8,000 out of 12. And then I think I'm about to be honored with Mechagon. I might already be honored.
That's gonna hurt. If you're about to hit honored, it's 12k to revered, and if you do the world quest at the very minimum, that's 850 plus another daily that gives you 150. That's 1,000 rep a day. You would get it in about 12 to 13 days.
But the Mechagon rep is super fast. I was already, like, I had almost no rep, and I was already friendly after the first day of stuff.
I mean, it doesn't take much, to be honest. But
yeah, it seems like Mechagon's a lot easier than Najatar is in terms of acquiring the rep. Does that sound accurate?
Well, the world quest definitely helps you. Again, it's 850 rep a day.
Which I think I only get like, I don't get very much for the world quests in Nazjatar unless it's an emissary.
No, but well, actually, you get more than 850. You're human. You're like 965.
I only get like 10 extra points. Oh, geez. We have a subscriber to the Style Boys crew, a new one. Hold on, we gotta donkey roll this shit. I wonder how many people listen to the show and is like, what is this song that she's playing?
Let me see that donkey roll.
So if you guys have never seen...
You're gonna answer it, aren't you?
What?
You're gonna tell. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, am I gonna tell them where it's from?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you guys have ever seen Popstar, which is like my second favorite movie of all of my favorite movies, with Andy Samberg, mostly because I'm an Andy Samberg fan. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's mostly just because I find the parody movie specifically to be hilarious, and he is hilarious, and it's funny. So Style Boys Crew is what we're about. And
I
that,
don't know. I tend to agree with Bulb.
I mean, not everybody can have style and find humor in all things. It's just one of those movies that I don't really like parody movies in general. Like, I didn't like any of the scary movies. I didn't really like any of those. This one, for some reason. And I think it's just because I like Andy Samberg. And it was just really funny. Anyway, so, with that being said, also, don't forget, August 16th, get your free t-shirt in-game because it's t-shirt day. Who doesn't like in-game t-shirts that you're probably never going to wear? But completionists, acquiring things, that's what 99% of World of Warcraft is all about, is acquiring things. So go get your, stuff. Your t-shirt.
Your t-shirt.
So,
Are you going to get your t-shirt?
No. I don't think I did it last time. I want to say that I did, but I don't really think that I did.
I didn't do it. I never do these micro holidays, to be perfectly honest.
I do the Hatching of the Hippogriffs, and I do the Kirin Tor crawl. I think that's pretty much it. There might be another one that I like.
Dance off, maybe?
No, that was always Rem's thing. Yeah, that was always Rem's thing. Let's see. So, they've done some, for August 9th's hotfixes, they did some Island Expedition stuffs.
They sure did.
So they had basically increased, the bonus amount of Azerite granted to players with the Azerite residue buff has been increased based off the Island Expedition difficulty. For heroic Island Expeditions, 2 Azerite per stack of Azerite residue, 500 Azerite total per player at full stack. Just to give you like an idea of what that looks like. Obviously, it's better for Mythic, which is 750, and then PvP is 900 because of course PvP is a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit like you could fight the AI when you're killing Horde as Alliance, but
I love that Blizzard tries their hardest to like copy everything, like down to like the players jumping about like fucking morons. It's cool.
Sneaky Pete's my favorite.
Yeah, he's an asshole. You just like you think you got him, and then he like fucks off. And it's like, so bitch.
Yeah, Sneaky Pete's my favorite for no particular reason. It just makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I just dig his vibe. I don't know if it's the right vibe, but it's someone's vibe.
You copy, you like it from behind.
Interesting. Also, so it's funny because I was telling my husband, we were talking about this the other day when I first saw the tweet go out. For the 15th anniversary, they're offering basically a please come back type of, I wouldn't call it a gift, I would call it more of a bribe, right? If you have, an inactive account, obviously if you are an active sub, that's not going to count. You get a free level 100 character boost. It's good through October 30th of 2019. So for inactive accounts, which is good. I guess it has to be for at least 2 years on average. Now, 2 years ago, where were we in game?
At the beginning of, or actually midway through Legion, we're probably in the Nighthold.
So they're going when we lost people before Legion. Like it says it's 2 years ago, but they're targeting those that we lost pre-Legion. So what was it, Draenor? No. Was it Draenor?
Yeah, so before Legion, yeah, would have been Warlords.
Yeah. They're targeting those which we lost. That's where we lost a good portion of, the community. Which we got a ton back in Legion, and then it's just one of those things where it's kind of been hit or miss. But if you are one of those people that still listens to the show, because I know there's several of you that don't play, but you still listen. I don't know why I wouldn't listen.
It's for our real life advice.
Right, because we talk about things like taxes and...
Hug dick.
Yeah, yes. We have another sub. 5 months. 5 months we have been committed to each other. That's a big deal. I just want everybody to just take a moment and absorb that. Hi, Broody. Yeah, 5 months we've been loving each other.
Oh, my.
That's like longer than...
I got nothing, so...
I know, I thought it was going to come out, and then in it goes.
Oh,
Rudy,
my.
I feel like I was supposed to respond to you on a message, and I just remembered. And if I didn't, I'm sorry. We were just talking about this at the beginning of the show, about how I fucking screw up by reading the message, and then I've lost the badge, right? The please read me again. No. What it is I read it, and I don't respond, and I mean to get back to it, but then when the notifications got... Guys, I could keep going through this all day. Everybody knows I'm an asshole. It isn't because I want to be. It just is what it is. But...
there's a reason I send her text messages before raid. You might be thinking it's because, I need her in the raid. She's an integral part of the raid, and we need all the help we can get. I text her, specifically text her, because I know it's going to take her a while to read her text versus a phone call. Maybe she'll show up, maybe she won't. That's a gamble I'm willing to take.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know what my life is like at that exact moment. Though I'm working to make it better. Like, it's already been... I've improved my... my time ability, I think. I don't really know. I was probably just making some shit up. Friday, I was, like, deep in work. I really wanted to have a day where I didn't do anything. So I was like, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. But then my boss threw a curveball at me with some fucking report that he needed. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to go do this report now. And then 7 hours later, here I am. But I am taking a ton of time off in the coming months. Because I'm not accruing vacation time anymore because I don't take vacation. So my hours are capped. If I want to continue to accrue hours, I have to take some time off. I'm actually taking 12 days in December. And I'm taking, I think 2 weeks, a week and a half or 2 weeks in November, plus a week. Well, I think it's like 13 days for BlizzCon because I take the day before I go to BlizzCon and I take the day after because I need to recover. But I'm trying to sprinkle in some days off there, just stuff that I don't have to do other stuff. If that makes any sense. Now, let's talk about...
Our favorite part.
It's a good day when you're in the bathroom, right? And everybody knows I have effective toilet time. I either get my best ideas in the bathroom or I am my most funniest when I'm in the bathroom because I'm relaxed. I don't have screaming children. It's just me, my toilet, and my lavender scented toilet paper. So I scrolling through on Twitter and I'm like, what is all this salt happening on Twitter? Everybody's mad at warlocks. And I'm thinking to myself, why is everybody mad at warlocks? Last I saw on the sim meters, we are the very bottom of the totem pole. So certainly nobody is mad at warlocks right now. Specifically, destruction, because we Literally, we were up here, and then boom, Queen Ashara, the Ashara shit comes out, and we are... Apparently, it's not appropriate for Mythic Raiders to run all Warlocks, the previous tier, so they decided that they had to do something about that. That's fine, I'm not, we only get our limelight, it's only periodically. I've learned that over the years, that Blizzard does not like to let Warlocks live in the limelight very, very long, because people start QQing and crying. But, the Warlocks, nerf the fear, nerf the chaos ball, brick.
Your class wasn't the only one on that list, just saying.
Well, right, and I agree. Like, I know it isn't just, elemental shamans are another example. They're good, very briefly, then they're bad for several years. Like, it's, for some reason, and it isn't even specific to all Destro specs, it's really specific to Demonology and Destro. Like, they break Demonology every expansion. Literally every expansion they break it, because somebody who is in charge of warlocking there has lost touch of what it means to be a warlock. Like, it's really easy, I suppose, with Affliction, because they seem to be okay. They get nerfed occasionally, but they're pretty consistent for both PvE and PvP. And when I say consistent, I mean, yes, there's bad moments, but 90% of it is good. So I'm seeing all this hate, and I'm going, well, what's happening that's... Like, let's get excited, because obviously if people are mad, something good is about to happen to me. So we're getting a 5% across the board damage buff. Now, I said to my husband, because my husband was like siding with people on the internet. I'm like, what are you even saying to me right now? Get the fuck out of here. I'm like, number one, it's just 5%. It's not that big of a deal. And number two, we're at the bottom of the meters, guys. Bottom.
But what's at the top for Warlocks?
I don't think there's any Warlock even close to being at the top. I know it was all Rogues last time I looked at the meter, and Warlocks were like, we were staggered all the way at the very, very bottom. There was not a Warlock even halfway up last time I looked.
Pretty sure Affliction's doing pretty good.
Well, I'm sure Affliction is always going to do good. Like, minus whatever mechanic issues or, things that they need to adjust. Like, sure.
So what mythic keys do I need to run you through to get you some Affliction gear?
Well, so there's this key that's called Fuck Off.
I've heard of that one. The Underrock 10 Tyrannical Cactus.
Oh, no.
Well,
No, everything I've seen on Twitter, Angie, has been all the people, at least in my Twitter feed, and I'm assuming my Twitter feed looks similar to yours, all the people are angry about the Warlock buff, the 5% buff. And how dare Blizzard? Which, I mean, I get it. I'd be mad. Okay. I just, like, yeah, but PvP and PvE shouldn't have, right? Like, the whole purpose of them doing these templates for these classes is that whatever happens in PvE shouldn't be affected by PvP, right? Like, this has been Holinka's grand design and in the making for the last 6 years, is they wanted it to be separate. Like, I don't know, like, in terms of PvP, I can't really have an opinion about that, because I'm not going to want my class nerfed. Who wants their class nerfed? Even if I agree with it. I can't. I can't.
You can always do that. We can always go to Final Fantasy, farm some materia, play a WoW-esque type of game.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't seen any PvP tuning in quite some time, yes? And I think people have been wondering why there isn't any PvP tuning.
It's just...
Where I lost the...
There's just some tuning for the classes aforementioned, like the Shaman, DK.
Like, I think we expected... I think we expected some PvP tuning, especially given that, we're in the home stretch of the Road to BlizzCon things, right? So I think we expected... When was the last... Oh, I didn't see any PvP tuning. I didn't actually look... Oh, yeah, it was at the very bottom. So, and they didn't do very much. To my knowledge, isn't there several classes that are a little bit kind of screwed up in PvP right now. Classes I don't really play, but I think I've seen some mentionings on the Twitter sphere.
I know. I just think it's interesting that they do all of these tunes so close to BlizzCon.
Yeah, Warrior and Death Knight got the same, all abilities increased by 5%, which I think the Warrior really needed it. I don't know what Frost DKs look like, but I know that I had seen some ARMS complaints.
And DKs, you got 5% Frost. And Frost, rather. I've been playing some Frost in a Mythic Key environment, and it does great on AoE, but single targets just garbage.
Yeah, like Shadow Priests, I think there was like a brief moment in Legion time when Shadow Priests were a little clunky. And I think that was adjusted. I remember Rem being very, he was very frustrated with the Shadow Priests at some point in Legion. I don't remember if it was the beginning, the middle, or the end.
The problem with Legion is that you are very dependent on legendaries, and I know a lot of Shadow Priests, especially during Emerald Nightmare, they were either having fun or they weren't, because it was all one legendary.
Are these the legendaries that were supposed to be occasional, like super rare, like you hope that eventually one drops, and then it got to be if you did not have a legendary and if you did not have a specific legendary, you were not considered viable in raid?
That was all bad. Do you have your cloak? Is it at item level? You're not invited.
The cloak was something that you could attain, though. Legendaries are something that we had no control over. We could not go out and acquire the legendaries outside of going and doing the content and pray to God that the bad luck protection was somehow in the algorithm that we were running, and we could not target what legendaries we received, right? At least with the cloak, and even, what did we have in Draenor? We had the ring, right?
Same thing.
At least those are things that you have the power, right? Agent actionable. I have to use a work term because I don't know my brain. But these are things that you have the power to be able to acquire and to be able to do. When you are literally Aja got like 11 the first 2 weeks. Not even the first 2 weeks. I want to say it was all in like a 7 or 8 day period. And I thought, well, that's fucking weird. Like either Blizzard's really off on their math, or she might be giving handies to some of the devs. I did it. We asked her flat out, like, are you giving handies? But it's good that system did not move forward. And it wasn't because I enjoy an occasional really super awesome piece that's like fantastic, right? But when it comes to being able to gear myself appropriately for whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's PvP or PvE or whatever the case may be, I need to be able to have a certain amount of control. And when I say certain amount of control, I can deal with knowing what drops from a boss, because then I know this is the boss that I need to make sure that I'm focusing when I do my reset runs. If it's raid, okay. If it's, mythic pluses, then I know that I need to keep, going in there and hoping whatever. So I need to be able to have at least a tiny bit, or at least a path, some type of path. Even if that path is random for the drop in terms of RNG, I just need a path to be able to follow that isn't all the way random, as was the case with the legendary system. I think if they would have done it a different way, it might have been great. I think if it would have been a true legendary system where we're talking like maybe one person a month got a legendary. I don't know if that's too little, but it feels like that it should have been a super exception rather than the rule, which is good that didn't.
It's fair, but again, Blizzard's trying not to alienate its fan base, so while it is a great idea, I don't think that they would go for it.
I mean, I think like the glaives, right? That's a good example. The glaives works for me. To this day, people are still trying to get them. Like, that's a good system. That's a really good system.
But you also alienate the players who can't use it, which again, in hindsight, Blizzard's
But
probably thinking that's
do you,
probably not what we want to do.
do you remember when it was okay to piss people off, Blizzard? Because I remember a time when it was okay to piss people off. And when it was okay to piss people off, that was when Blizzard was at their best. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's a prime example. Giving something that is only for a specific class, spec, whatever, Blizzard didn't have a problem with pissing everybody off by putting that in game. And it still remains there. People still do. They still go and kill that boss to try to get the glaives. They're okay with it, and that's more than fine. But do you remember when Blizzard was okay with pissing people off? The problem is Blizzard has decided, which maybe they're fixing that. I don't know. I don't want to harp on them because I don't know what they're doing. It's super silent over there. They're prepping for BlizzCon. I don't know what's going on internally. But I think it's high time that they be okay with pissing people off. I think it's high time that they stop. They're sack chasers at this moment, and I think that that's why I'm most annoyed. And anybody that knows what that term means, then you already know what I'm talking about. But it feels like they're walking on eggshells with the players because they're afraid to go in one direction, right? Because social media is 10 times what it was 5-6 years ago, right? Like, now you put something on your store to make money for $25 and the whole fucking internet's attacking you and calling you like a scallywag and how you're a swindler because you're charging people for mounts that is labor that they had to pay. Like, they had to pay somebody to do that. It doesn't matter if it's a reskin. That's cost, right? That Blizzard has to make their money back on. But isn't it time that we be okay with that?
Nope. But Activision Blizzard is a publicly owned company, and as such, you have stakeholders. So, yeah, Blizzard's gonna want to play the safe road for a while. How do they rid themselves of Activision? And I'm not trying to start some revolution, but how do they rid themselves of these constraints so they can start doing what they want to do?
The thing is I know that Activision has very little to do with their decisions. Like, I know that from an insider perspective, and I know that it isn't Activision. That's why when people get on these things where they think they know on Twitter, I know that it is a very small portion. For the most part, Activision leaves Blizzard alone because Blizzard makes money. So we're talking very small. Like, monetarily, when it comes to budget, okay, that probably wasn't, Activision probably had to come in and say, listen, you guys are literally fucking bleeding money. Something's got to give here. You have to bleed. You're bleeding money. You have to do something. And I know, I told you guys, I'm sure Envy's done it too. I'm sure he's been through that at his work. When you work in corporate, like, I've been through it twice. Twice. I survived 2 rounds of very large layoffs at a very scary time in my life. And I don't know that I've ever fully recovered. But I know that if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't have survived as a company. I know that. So, but yes. But when did they lose their balls? Because that's what's missing. You mean to tell me that Mike Morheim and Chris Metzen were the only ones with balls? Those are the only ones with balls? We lost them, and then, like, how do you fix a culture?
I don't know.
Because I know how we did it, but we're tiny, right? Like, my company is not Blizzard. They don't, we have 4 locations. And all of them are Europe except for the one in San Jose. Like, I guess we're about to open one in Chicago, which is great because I like to go to Chicago because I really like their food. So, but how do you fix a culture? Because I know that we were broken for a really long time. How do you fix where they went wrong? The touch that they've lost with the player base. And this isn't even just for World of Warcraft.
You can go. I'm going to reference my favorite video game of all time again. Doom 2016. Doom 3, for those of you, I know a lot of you have hopefully played Doom 3. It's not the Doom you remember. Then Doom 2016 came out, and you're like, this is pretty close. It's not it, but it's pretty close. And that's simply because id Software, they they're owned by Bethesda, who, again, much like Activision, can tell id Software, don't do that.
Right.
And id Software went for it, right? They listen to their fan base. Ultimately, it's the players who are going to buy the game, and you got to listen to your players. And that's where they succeeded with the game, and any other game for that matter. Do you think Fallout 76 would be in better shape if Bethesda actually listened to their fan base instead of what's his name's? I don't want to mention his name because he pissed me off. But I bought Fallout 76 on launch. I'm sorry. I'm a little salty about that. But yeah, you listen to your fans. You listen to the players. How you incorporate that into, making or breaking your company is up to you. But if you're doing it for your fans, I think that's a first step. Now, you could be like the director for that Sonic the Hedgehog movie. He's doing the movie for his fans, and he releases that trailer, and it's like, oh, God, that's not the Sonic the Hedgehog that I remember. The fans were very vocal about it. The studio is redoing Sonic. Ultimately, we have the power, but we're such a diverse player base. I enjoy the game for what it is. Somebody may not.
How do we control what voices they hear?
It's getting a little more difficult these days.
Somebody posted on Twitter a series of screenshots taken where somebody had said, I'm super positive towards Blizzard and I'm not disrespectful, and it was like /spit, and there was like all the fucking lackeys were copying with the /spit because people don't know how to have their own minds, and I was just fucking cracking up because I've been super quiet on Twitter lately, and a good portion of it is because the things that I've been seeing unfold have really pissed me off, and in order for me to continue to be affiliated with Method, I have to not, because reasons. But Jess probably knows. Anyway, so but how do you, and I think this is the thing that's most scary to me. Like, I have a lot of confidence in there being enough at Blizzard to pick it up and move on. Like, it was really hard at my job, and my job, again, my company is not the size of Blizzard. They're a multi-million-dollar company, but they're not juggling all the balls that Blizzard is, right? I know that it was a very long recovery, and it took those that were a little bit feistier and, kind of spread the motivation throughout. And we went through, after the layoffs, we lost people because people were like, well, fuck this shit. Like, you just got rid of 200 people. Like, this isn't okay. But they didn't see, what was going on the inside, and other people didn't as well. We did also suffer from some poor leadership in terms of our previous CEO, and that's tough because this is the person that's steering your company, right? They're steering you in the direction that they think you need to be in, and when it's a guy who isn't familiar with what we do and why we do it, it just doesn't make any sense. And we answer to the consumer as well. I answer to my customers. I don't answer to executives. I don't answer to anybody else. I answer to my customers because, to put it frankly, my customers pay my bills. So from that customer standpoint, I hear loud voices constantly. When we're not doing a new feature, we're not doing something that they want us to do, their voices get louder. And how do we change destiny? Because ultimately that's what's happening here, is it's destiny. It's, where is this ship going to go? Can it recover? Is this classic situation going to drive a further wedge between the disconnect between the live community and those that want to go back to the past? Because that's my ultimate fear. And that's the real reason why I stay the fuck away from Classic. It isn't because I want to be a bitch, and it isn't because I hate everything that isn't actual World of Warcraft live. It is because it is a fear. It is a fear of what is that going to do to my community. can it suffer anymore? Because yes, it can. If everybody swaps over to just doing classic shit, where does my community go? Because that's the fear. Because without my community, because I'll go check out classic servers. I got text messages from some of my Blizz friends asking what server we're playing on. I'm like, you guys know I'm not trying to be in classic. Like, I'm not. But that's the fear. And that's a very genuine and real fear. And I don't think I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. Certainly, I can't be the only one that's afraid at what that means. I've chosen to look at it from a happier perspective in terms of maybe this is a good thing, right? Maybe both sides can learn from this and Blizzard can really see what people are doing in Classic and use that as a live testing ground to see what systems that they need to reweave, right? And remold and shape it. Now, to that end, to the segue, there's been a lot of talk over whether or not there's going to be an expansion announcement. Logically, you would say yes, right? Like, this would be the time because, God, do we need it? We don't need it because there isn't anything to do. Like, the Ashara content was great. But I need a sign. I need a wave. I need hey, we're all right. We're heading in the right direction. Even if we break shit, we're all right. I think that's what I need. Like, what happens if we don't get an announcement, NB?
Oh, no, we've been through a BlizzCon without an expansion announcement. I think we were expecting one and we didn't get it.
Well, we were usually mid-expansion, yes?
Yeah.
So we would get future patch talk, right? It would be what's coming.
Right. But, I don't know. I mean, I think people would be upset for sure, but that would guarantee that the next BlizzCon, a WoW expansion would be announced. If not, they'll probably do the same thing they did with Draenor and announce it at, what was it, Gamescom?
Yeah, but they pulled their booth at, and I think it's because they realize that they keep giving all their eggs to other people's baskets in terms of conventions, right? People go to BlizzCon because it is Blizzard. If you keep giving all your eggs to all these other cons, what is the point of people buying tickets?
Right.
To see your con if you've got nothing to offer people outside of people go for, the friendship and the kinship and the drinks and the nerds. Like, I'm hoping that Blizzard was smart there and decided we need to stop putting our eggs in other people's baskets, and we need to start giving continued reason for people to keep going, because the community hit that the layoffs took are still being felt, right? We're still a fair amount of, salty and sadness and all those things. I don't know that there's going to be an expansion announcement specifically. I am hoping for something that blows us out of the water. I think, like, something that makes people wish they had went to BlizzCon and didn't. I'm not saying I want them to announce the new WoW, but come on, isn't it coming? How can it not? How can the new WoW not be coming? How can that not be what they're working on right now? From a business standpoint, how can that not be what they're doing? What other tricks do they have in their bag?
Yeah, the announcement of a new Diablo.
Yeah, but I'm talking about from a World of Warcraft side. I'm sure that's coming. They can't have another BlizzCon and they don't announce
that's big enough for Blizzard. There's a big fan base for that.
Yeah, but it's not going to be enough because World of Warcraft is where the community took the biggest hit, and I don't mean in terms of like them laying off people, but the World of Warcraft community has always been the loudest and the most passionate in terms of their connection to Blizzard employees specifically, the devs, the PR guys. Like, the World of Warcraft community has always been the loudest. So, like, the Diablo thing's coming for sure. Like, I'm sure every game is going to have a huge announcement because they have to. You can't lay off 800 people and not have anything to show for it at BlizzCon. Like, where did the money go that you saved? Because if you could show me where the money go that you saved, than it was for something. Right?
Right, but we really don't know who's pulling the strings. Do you know that Activision's not really fucking about with Blizzard's business?
I know that the only thing that they were truly involved in was bringing up the budget situation, and the phrasing that I was told is they weren't wrong. So, and I get it. I understand to a certain degree. But that isn't the first, like, there have been several, like, even a conversation I had last year with a very well-known Blizzard employee. He said people always blame them, and they have very little to do with us. Very little. They're very hands-off. They have very little to do with us. But it's...
From a creative perspective, maybe, but...
Well, budget probably was like, hey...
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep paying your bills, so... But they have very little to do in terms of that. And if they put the squeeze on budget-wise, they had to make choices. It was the same thing with Heroes of the Storm. They were literally bleeding money. I know the community is still salty about it, but they were literally bleeding money. They were bleeding money. They were giving huge salaries and huge money they were putting towards the Heroes of the Storm stuff. Rightfully so, guys. This isn't about one game being better than the other at all. But whatever they were getting back wasn't worth it. I was salty that they were getting paid more than the esports guys, the WoW esports guys. That was a little annoying. I'm like, well, these guys are, like, you know, but one game isn't more important than the other in terms of that, because they each have their own fan base, and they each have their own things that, you know, make them good, and all those kinds of things. But I know we're going to see something big. I could probably easily find out, but I don't want to. I'd rather go a year not knowing. I wanted to speculate because I've enjoyed this last, when did I stop, like, getting information? I want to say, like,
November last year.
Yeah, I just said, like, I want to be surprised. I want to be shocked. I want to know, I want to remember what it felt like to not know, and to be as excited as everybody else. And that's going to be my approach this year, because I've never went to a BlizzCon that, I think outside of my first one, that I didn't know what was already happening in terms of World of Warcraft stuff. So this is, and that's really what prompted my question, is to get people's minds going, to get other perspectives, and you know, what other possibilities that there could be. And a lot of this sparked from the Arc stuff this last 2 weeks. I don't know if anybody plays Arc, but Arc announced a new DLC, and this particular announcement, it was like a week and a half of a daily thing that they were changing, and you had to decrypt, and it got the whole community together to decode and try to figure out and piece together. And every day you would go to the site and something different would be changed, and you had to, like, interpret and decode and do all these things. And I've always loved Arc's story. I don't play live, you know, I play on my own. I have my own little tiny server that I just build stuff on and be creative and tame shit. But, like, I got into it. Like, it got me going. I was, like, stoked. And in the evening times, when I would be, like, doing stuff for the kids or whatever, I'm on the forums trying to decode this stuff with everybody else, because I'm into it. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if Blizzard did stuff like that for announcements? Like, if you guys remember when they announced Sombra for Overwatch, like, the way that they did that inside the arena was like, it,
like the power grid got
yeah,
back.
like, that was fucking amazing. Where is that,
cool.
Blizzard? Because that's what I'm missing. That's the Blizzard I'm missing. Can somebody find it? Have they already found it, and that's the reason we're just going on blind faith? Because, again, here we are, and I'll keep going on blind faith until I don't got nothing left, right? I did it in Draenor, and I'll continue to do it because I know that this can't be the end. Like, this can't be the end. Can't let them go out like EA. Like, for fuck's sake, I can't let them go out like EA. I just can't. No offense, EA. I play Sims. I'm just saying. But yes. So if anybody's a fan of Ark and anybody saw that, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go to the forums and you should check it out and you should see like the way that they did it. Then it was a countdown and different things every day to decode. And I'm not talking about some fake decoding shit. Like you were legitimately decoding stuff, which was pretty awesome. And then it led up to the announcement on Thursday. Unfortunately, the PlayStation Store, fucked them on their announcement because they released the stuff to the DLC for the season pass a day in advance. The Australia people. And so we were all waiting until Thursday for the reveal of what we pretty much knew was going to be Genesis, but we weren't sure. And PlayStation Store was already, they pretty much, yeah. So, and then for their stream, they were really salty. Like the wild card guys were like, or they were like, yeah. They were super salty. They kept making like PlayStation cracks. Anyway, so I remember the Sombra thing. I remember some other announcements that they had. Like, those are the things that I would love to see. I would like to see them get back to putting on a show. Because they don't put on shows anymore. It's just guys getting up there in their Blizzard fucking uniforms and there's no show, right? There's no... It's become so common that they don't... You still gotta date me, guys. Like, just because we're married with children doesn't mean you still don't gotta date me and every year take me to a nice steak dinner at the Ponderosa.
Or Texas Roadhouse.
You know what really sounds good? Crab. Not the crabs. Crab. I'm quite hungry. The passion, there isn't any. The community's got it all. That's what I want to see. What do you want to see, Envy? What do you, of all the things in life, when it comes to BlizzCon and announcements or culture, what do you want to see?
I don't know. I think you touched on it pretty much. The biggest thing that I miss is like, you know, every BlizzCon you're excited, like, oh, I can't wait to see what they announce. You know, you that's just on your mind. Like, what are they announcing? What are they announcing? What are they announcing? You get there and they announce something that you know it's related to WoW, and you kind of thought, well, maybe they were going to go in this direction, but instead they chose this direction, and it catches you by surprise. I sort of miss that feeling, right? But that was maybe my second or third BlizzCon, right? And I've been to many now.
How many have you been to? Like, in the grand... Like, give me a number. What's your
8.
number? 8?
8. We skipped one, and we were glad we skipped it, but it gets to the point where it just feels like a routine. Like, yep, you sit down, you try to get the best seats. Maybe after your 7th or 8th BlizzCon, you're like, I'll just go in the security lanes shorter. But it's kind of lost that mystic appeal, right? Like, you sit down, you're waiting, and the intro starts rolling, and you're getting excited, you're getting the chills running down the back of your neck, and you're just waiting for like the next scene and what comes next. Now it's just like, okay, they're doing the Diablo bit now. You guys want a margarita or something? I think the credit card machine in the back isn't fucked up yet. You guys? Okay, here's a storm. You guys want another Jack and Coke? That's what my BlizzCon is now. Like, I don't think I make it to the end of the intro, the opening ceremonies, without being completely smashed. And it was like, Roscoe's? I'll meet you guys there.
Broody, thanks for that sub. Wow, we're getting subs tonight, guys. What's happening in the world? Everybody wants to be part of the Star Wars crew. Who wouldn't, though, when you think about it? Like,
yeah, like, I I don't know how they're gonna get there, but I would love to have a reason to be excited to be going to BlizzCon. I'm not saying that I'm not excited. I enjoy going to BlizzCon. I'm California native. I'm California boy, farm boy at that. I miss California. It's pretty much the only time I ever really go back anymore.
You want to
And,
farm? That's a little cliche.
well, orale. Did you just profile me again? Whatever.
Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong.
You share the same, well, not same last name, but you know. In any case,
I don't argue there. You're right. When you're right, you're right.
How do we get Blizzard to the point where, like, oh shit, I wonder how they're going to top off last year's BlizzCon or this year's, whatever, right? And that's also a sort of problem. Like, you see it with, like, the bands, especially. Like, how the fuck are they going to top Ozzy? How the fuck are they going to top Tenacious D, you know?
But they can and do and will. They just don't.
A strawberry farm.
How about that one year they just gave up and had a DJ?
Yeah, they had Hodor. Everybody was pumped about Hodor. It was actually the real closing ceremony performance was by Hodor. Who?
I'm like one of 5 people in the entire universe that doesn't watch Game of Thrones and was relatively unmoved by any of that.
That's why you pick a corner and you die and we kill the boss for you. We expect you have your reasons, your issue why you stood in bad, but we accept you for who you are.
I want them to want, where's the pride, right? I think that that's pride that Mike Morhaime had, and I think that that's pride that Chris Metzen had, and I think that's a true testament of what's missing. I don't know. I know some of this stuff, but I feel sometimes like Mike Morhaime. Not like, to compare what I do to him, but in the content creation stuff, I felt very much like Mike Morhaime. I felt where the moment you don't want to fight anymore, or the moment the competition isn't competition, it isn't fun anymore, right? Like you get to the point where it's just not fun. Your attention to detail, who's giving a fuck about it? Nobody gives a fuck about it until it's not there, right? Me spending an X amount of time on a thing doesn't make it any better for anybody else. Nobody loves anything more because you spent more time on it. Like that's not the way that life works. In what we do, and in this specifically, you are lucky. That's it. Lucky. Because I see super talented people who are not relatively famous. I have friends that are very talented at what they do in gaming and content creation, and they're not very famous. You are lucky. It wasn't because you worked harder. It wasn't because you did more things. It wasn't because you sucked more dick. It was because you were lucky. Luck of the draw. Though some people that are famous on the internet, you have to ask yourself why. Because I find myself, Ninja specifically, I don't know why that guy is famous. He's not entertaining. I've watched his stream. He isn't very funny. You know who's funny, though? Macaulay Culkin. If you don't follow him on Twitter, follow him on Twitter. If you don't follow him on Twitter, follow him on Twitter. If you don't watch or listen to his podcast, Bunny Ears, I think is what it's called. Listen, Macaulay Culkin's Twitter, guys, it is hysterical. Hysterical. His podcast literally says shit that I think but don't say. And I know people are probably like, how high is she right now? Guys, I'm telling you, his Twitter cracks me the fuck up. Like, it is funny. I even think, Envy, I think you will like it. But I didn't know he was so funny.
You're talking about what the remake would look like?
No, that's not what was funny. Like, that's what drew me to his Twitter, and I had never saw it before. And I was literally laughing out loud yesterday. Like, my husband was like, whenever I do that, he's always asking me, "Are you okay?" But I was hysterically laughing at the shit that I was reading, and then I followed his podcast page and just shit that you would never expect. Like, did I ever expect him to be any kind of entertaining? No. Who does that? But I wanted to try. I was going to find it so I can link it. But honestly, you won't be sorry. Like, you really will not be sorry if you follow him, because the shit is hysterical. But Bunny Years is his is the Twitter account, but like,
What's a Twitter?
right? But yeah, you guys should check it out, because some of the stuff that he says is pretty funny. There was, I don't even remember what it was I was watching, but anyway, people that you wouldn't expect to be funny are pretty funny, and he's hysterical. So, you're welcome. You can all judge me, but go to Twitter and you won't be sorry, because it's funny. It'll brighten your day. But he's pretty hilarious. I don't know when he got funny. Like, must have been in between cocaine bitters, right?
He was always funny. I especially loved him in that comedy, My Girl. A funny movie.
You are so stupid. You are so stupid.
Protect the honeybee.
He even posted about that chick's bathwater thing. Anyway, he said we wanted to see some bathwater alternatives, might be for a more discerning gamer. We found this guy. A Christian gamer, I only drink my wife's bathwater. That's what he posted on Twitter. Then there was one where, what the hell did he say? I don't know, but it resounded with me so deep that I was like, I get this on a personal level. But you won't be sorry about those kinds of things, because he is just funny. So, now that we've went through the heavy, let's talk about while we're kind of rounding things out and closing things out, let's talk about the good in where we're going. The good news is, in terms of story, we are heading in a direction that this time 2 years ago, we were very scared for. I don't know if anybody remembers the conversations that we had on the show beforehand. We were very afraid. We were afraid because we were losing our big characters. We were losing our leaders, right? We lost Vol'jin. We lost my king, Rin, rip. Like, Murad. Who else did we lose that was really, really big in that same, like, off the bat, this was was this Warlords of Draenor when we started losing some of the big hitters?
Who did we lose in Draenor?
I know we lost Murad. My husband was he never recovered from that.
Well, Garrosh finally died, but he was a villain anyway.
Hey, Vulcan. Yeah, no, nobody really cared. We were all ready for him, and then him and Thrall did the Makara.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't think we lost anybody in Draenor. It was
Legion,
and then the books, obviously.
So at this time, this was a very scary time for us. I was on a show with John Jagger and Ben from Azeroth Roundtable. And he had talked about how this was very scary. This was like end of days type of shit. Like, they're literally wrapping up an entire world story, which was kind of the way that it was put. And, those things were very scary. I didn't think I was going to recover from not having my king, and then we get another king who, still hasn't found a mate. When you say Thrall cheated, I'm still bitter that Thrall, made us fight Garrosh ourselves. Apparently he was tired from holding up the world, because that's exhausting, and... But... So, at this point, it was a very scary time. We didn't know what was happening. They've done such a good job of putting us right back into the middle of it, where we're getting to that point where what is going to happen with Sylvanas is she going to die? Are we going to kill her? Are they going to let her live? We know that she's not going to be war chief, but where does this take us? We lost what I think was one of the best war chiefs the Horde has ever had, and I'm not even Horde, right? Like, to me, Vol'jin was the man. Being an alliance, I would follow Vol'jin into... He's like Optimus Prime. Like at the end of every of every single Transformers movie when Optimus does his, like, speech, I'm fucking ready to go. Like, I'm sharpening my sword. I will go wherever Optimus is telling me to go because he gets me amped up in his little speech. That's how that's what Vulcan reminds me of. But there's several things that we haven't touched on. We got the Void situation, which, you know, we're relatively sure that at some point we're going to that planet because there's been tells there. And
the old gods virtually are with those.
Right.
The Void Lords control the old gods.
We can't fight old gods.
Oh, yeah.
We can't. We cannot fight old gods. We're ill-equipped. We're ill-equipped. How are we going to fight old gods?
With newer and better gear. When the new raid comes out, obviously.
With progressing through raid and making sure that your artifact necklace is the proper level.
55.
I think mine's 55. I might be on the same level as you now.
I'm like 62.
My item level is like 4...
11.
Mm-hmm.
At least it was after you got some upgrades.
The problem is my trinket. I replaced one trinket, but I still got another... Oh my goodness. Hold on, guys. Do you guys hear the screaming? My dog... Listen, my dog opened my door, apparently.
Is that Zeus behind you?
What?
Is that your dog?
Oh, that's Vic. I don't have a dog named Zeus. I'm not that basic white. So...
It was like what's his name? Never mind.
Is Rathian friend or foe?
I can't unhear that now.
What?
The scream or whatever it is in the background.
No, did you hear it? Fuck. Guys, hold on. I have to stop what I'm doing on the show. Can everybody hear that?
If I can hear it, they can hear it.
The thing is, I know my husband hears her. I know he hears her. He's downstairs. Okay, so back to what we were saying. Yeah, I see everybody hears it. The whole house just... Everybody at home just hears. My niece is a... Literally, she's a mini tyrant. She just rips through this house like a tornado. So... Dragons. Dragons, and more dragons. I don't think we're going to see a dragon expansion. I think that's where we're going pre-expansion. Could dragons be on our side should we lose our world?
Well, dragons gotta go somewhere.
But could we leverage whatever the dragons might have out there in the cosmos if we lose our planet? Whether it's run off or it explodes, like...
I don't know. I think generally, historically, the dragons have been on our side for pretty much the beginning. And they're ultimately just fulfilling their duties bestowed upon them by the Titans. Like, protect life.
Rip you, Sarah.
Why you gotta bring up negative?
Why do you gotta make... I don't see an entire expansion surrounding dragons.
No, but we need some more goddamn dragons. The last dragon fight we had was Dragon with Emerald Nightmare, the first boss. Whatever the hell her name was. I need more dragons in my life.
I do think we need more dragons, and I think it's because, you know, dragons are an integral part of our lineage, right? Dragons, it's like they've been there through all of the generations. Dragons, it just is what it is. It's just the dragon aspects are... There are people that still do the quest to get the staff that turns you into the dragon. Like, these are things that are just tried and true, a part of who we are. I just want to know, because what I'm trying to figure out is in my theory, if my theory is correct, if we do see an expansion that is not on Azeroth. Potentially, how would these things play out? Because they are pushing us in the direction of dragons in terms of story, because we're seeing them pop out more and more and more. Different, different things. So, how can they top this story for Battle for Azeroth? Because they really outdid themselves with the Jaina thing. And that whole situation, it's going to be really difficult for them to top. You converted an avid Jaina hater into someone who literally is like, I have pledged my loyalty to the Proudmoors for life. Which is, that's no small feat, guys. Like, give Blizzard their credit. I literally was a forever Jaina hater. How do you compel the masses after you've literally compelled them? That's what's interesting.
You put all of your money into Christie.
Golden?
Well, she writes a fair amount of story. I think she has some creative liberty.
Yeah, I think they give her the main subject matter. And tell her, I think there's something she probably has to do. Like, maybe she gets told, like, from A to B, this is what's going to happen when you get to B. Or A to C, this is what's going to happen when you get to C. Now you just have to make B happen. It's going to be interesting. Because story-wise, gameplay-wise, too. We've done all the things. We've done the necklace. We've done the cape. Weapon. Ring. What's next? A fucking legendary bra? An artifact G-string? Like, what's the next thing to upgrade?
I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Does anybody want to bet that they bring reforging back? Anybody?
I didn't mind reforging. I'm one of the few that I enjoyed it.
I didn't like it or dislike it. It was just there. It was a thing. It was a necessary evil. I used it for PvP a lot. Not so much in PvE, but I used it a lot for PvP. But this was back when I was just mostly PvP. I only did, even to this day, I only raid to raid with the guild. I don't actually like raiding. I actually dislike raiding a lot. If it were up to me, I would just PvP all the time.
And we keep reminding her she doesn't have to show up if she doesn't want.
Yeah, but I like,
She insists.
I like hanging out with the guild. It's fun for me. Raiding, not so much.
She just loves to troll me as well.
I do like seeing, like, there's always at least one or two boss fights that I really love each tier, and that makes it worth it, I think. I mean, I don't know.
You would have enjoyed a shower.
Well, I'm sure I'll get the opportunity to enjoy her.
Maybe.
I didn't get AOTC last expansion.
Last tier.
I mean tier. Because...
Screaming children.
Yeah, this raid is not like many, many moons ago raid where we raided until every single person on the raid team got their AOTC, whether they were able to show up or not. It's just a different culture now. Those are things that we were very mindful of. Because shit does happen, but this is a different time in Blizzard life with the game. But,
the good news is we have grown quite a bit.
yeah, I think we're doing pretty well, I think. These are things that you have to refine as you go. These are learned, and the more that you kill things together, the more cohesive you become as a team, and you become invested, right? And that's what you're looking for when you're keeping a solid raid team, when you're building, you're doing things with your guild. You just consistency and building towards that solidarity. It's never easy to start over, and we've rebuilt the raid team several times. And it was always had its rough patches, but we've always gotten through it, and we've always came out on top. And I think that's what makes it good, is when you have the ability to be able to rebuild. No one wants to do that. That's scary. When I chose to do that, I knew in Legion, it was going to be a bad thing. Like, I knew that it was going to be rough, and it was. It was rough for a while. I didn't even know if we were going to have a raid team. But I did what I had to do, and I'm really happy that I did it. Because that monkey wasn't on the shoulder, and I felt better instantly. But you rebuild. Now I have to look to Blizzard to continue to bring people to the game and to continue to keep them there. But I also realize that that's just part of it. If it hadn't been for Envy helping me do my daily stuff, I probably wouldn't have logged in. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was tired. And nobody gives a shit if I play or if I don't play. Him messaging me helped me be a place and a time. So I felt good. Listen, he could spin it however he wants to. Whatever. But that's why it's good to game with people, because you have that, it's not accountability, but you have the, oh, I'm just not going to game tonight because I'm tired. But then so-and-so messages you. It's accountability to a certain degree. Anyway, so.
It's a bitch sometimes, though, because I'll be, like, high off my mind watching TV. Then I'll get a text message from a guildie. Hey, we got this plus 10 that we need to do. We got everybody. We need a tank right now. I'm like, if I don't open it, it won't mark red because I'm an idiot and didn't turn that setting off. But I really need this 10.
My husband started playing again.
Accountability. Or did he?
That'll probably last like 5 minutes, but he seems really into it. And I didn't have to make it to BlizzCon for this to happen. Now, this is a good thing because he's all hyped now, right? So by the time the hype is starting to run out, BlizzCon will happen, and then when I come back, he's going to super love me. And to super love me, he plays WoW. That's how he super loves me. But that's good for me because he's a paladin, so that's nice when I want to be in war mode to have that. Because the second I get flying, I'm turning my war mode back on. Like, the only reason that I turned it off is because I can't finish my fucking dailies because now everybody has flying. So Belle's getting dive bombed by all these fucking neckbeards that are chilling on their mounts. And here I am just minding my own business trying to catch crabs and fucking skin turtles. And then here come these guys dive bombing out of the freaking sky. No, I did not say that. I don't know if that's Winstead or Gareth.
Damn.
I don't know which one is behind the technically PvP right now. It's either Winstead or Gareth, but it's one of you. Kind of sounds like it's probably Gareth if I had to guess. Oh, Garethsar. I don't know what I was saying, Gareth. Because I can't spell. Yeah, neckbeard. So listen. Here's the thing. 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Sometimes you're tired, guys. Yeah, so I do have war mode off for the moment. But then the war mode is going back on because I have flying. And there's things that I have that dismount players that I desperately want to use. And I haven't been able to use them. I've even tried using them in war mode to knock these guys off their flyers. But their range is just a little bit higher.
I'm a bit higher.
Now I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to turn my war mode back on, and I'm ready to go out into the world and kill some things and be
And be a grown up.
True. Though one of the nice things about being a caster and most of my spells having a 40-45 yard range is I can cast from my mount and I'll fall to the ground because I have my unending resolve. I can eat a cookie. Like, there's a lot of things that I could do to mitigate damage when I'm falling to the ground. But I love sniping people from distances. So I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be, something. I don't know. It's going to be good? Bad? Maybe.
Hilarious.
So, I am ready, though. I am ready to get back to the PvP. I hate having war mode off. Because to me, it's one or the other, right? I'm not just going to keep swapping. Like, I'm going to commit. One or the other. And I'm ready to go back into war mode because it's funner that way. Like, I enjoy it. But I don't have the patience because I'm trying to get my flying. Once I get my flying, then we can... I would never scream for the Horde. If I ever screamed for the Horde, you guys should come and get me because I'm kidnapped. Like, I literally, if I ever scream for the Horde, I am kidnapped and somebody is holding me against my will.
I would, if you ever get kidnapped, I would look for you. It would be after raid, but I would look for you.
It would be when you're really, really high and can't find anything. But I don't need you to look for me because your wife would look for me.
She won't be in the raid, so
Your wife would make you care.
I'll send a pug with her. Pugs
Like, I'll get found eventually. And then I'm thinking, maybe I don't want to be found. Like, if I'm kidnapped, maybe it's best to just leave me be. Like, just leave me be. Everything in my feed is classic, and I just really want to scream. Is it okay to mute that name? The problem is it's a fucking... How do I mute just that? Because there's a lot of good phrases and stuff I'll probably miss on the Twitter sphere not having that word. So, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on if we're going to see an announcement at BlizzCon. I want to hear who's got flying. If you do not have flying yet, are you struggling? What do you need? I want to hear your thoughts on, has anybody went into Ashran and I just went full retard. I think I'm going to do Ashran this weekend. Envy, are you down to roll with some Ashran?
When?
It's already mid-weekend. I was thinking it was Thursday. Yeah, like we should get down with some Ashran probably tomorrow. The midday is always best for Alliance. You got your... How do you even have your flying? You are probably more casual than anybody else I've ever met, Callie, and you even have your flying. You could go full retard sometimes, though. If no one's watching. Isn't someone always watching, though? Isn't that the case? All right, guys, so listen. Oh, before I forget, while we're wrapping up the show, we are going bi-weekly.
Yay. Oh, my.
And I know that some of you are going to be... Nobody's probably going to give a shit, and that's okay. We are going bi-weekly. I think this is... Angie's frustrated because I'm an asshole, and it is what it is. I work, and sometimes I have good weeks, sometimes I have bad weeks. We're going to go bi-weekly to make things easier so that at least we know every other week. You know, it'll help me be able to time manage to... Okay, I can do that next week because I don't have show. But I need to be better as a human, and I can't get better as a human until I organize my life the way that it used to be. Because I don't know if you guys remember the bell before, but the bell you have now is not the bell that used to be. 2 years ago, it was a very different bell. And I don't know how to get that bell back except to set everyone in my house on fire. But I recognize that I need to get back to being able to do those things. And now that's what I'm working on doing. So doing the every other week, I think that makes it a little bit easier, not just on, you know, myself, but really for NV2 and, you know, probably for Angie, she'll have to deal with my shit a little bit less, but poor thing. I love it because she doesn't even care. She just pokes and prods me. But, like, she can't help me if I don't help her. So it's just one of those things where something's got to give here. So I think we're going to do bi-weekly, probably for a while, probably forever. Like, there isn't so much going on right now that we need to have a weekly show. I think bi-weekly we can focus more on chunks of important things and not important things and solid life advice. Because those things, you know, solid life advice. So we got to help people pay taxes and
answer the... We ask the tough questions.
Do we?
We do. Like, what's better? Like, what type of toilet paper should you buy? Are you going to buy the Costco variety pack, or are you going to go for something specific? You know, the right type of toilet paper is important because then you get hemorrhoids, then you can't sit right. That affects your gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not going to be comfortable playing World of Warcraft with some bumps on your ass.
Lint is a thing, guys, and it's an epidemic in this country. People underestimate the problems that happen with lint, right? Like we take, if you've ever been linty and you don't know you've been linty, my husband said to me the other day, I finally get your thing with toilet paper. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, all these years I never understood how you would like freak out if you didn't have the exact toilet paper you needed to have. He goes, I finally get it. And I go, what do you mean? He's like, well, I used this specific toilet paper and it was really linty. And I'm like, yeah, you're a boy. You don't notice those things. I'm a girl. I have an innie. I'm going to notice those things because if I don't, then we got a bigger problem on our hands, right? Like, I check stuff out because you're supposed to. And when it's an innie, it isn't always visible. And if it's visible, you should probably close your legs. But you have to check and make sure stuff's, golden. And those things are important. Nobody tells you that you have to check your stuff out. That nobody, and things are serious when you don't have the right toilet paper.
Yep. Exactly. We're just trying to prolong your World of Warcraft experience and your enjoyment. You're not going to enjoy the game if your ass is on fire or...
You guys remember my incident? The incident that I have with the terrible my toilet paper people decided to change the embroidery. So then when I asked them, whose fucking choice was this? Because your embroidery, literally, like, you've just primed my underside for its fucking first coat of paint. And it happened when I was raiding. And so when we take a break, Envy gives us like 5 minutes. So I gotta run downstairs. If I'm hungry, I have to do my food, and I have to go to the bathroom. So when you're fast wiping because you're trying to be done and wash your hands and do your things, the embroidery matters. So it was rough. And they were like, oh, our focus group tested heavily. What did they test? Because any female in their right mind that used this toilet paper with your new embroidery is going to tell you that it feels like sandpaper. So when I tweeted it, everybody else was like, dude, I thought it was just me. Like, I was getting all these people on Twitter who totally, like, got what I was saying. And then, of course, I got them. Just want you to know that they fixed their embroidery back. I'm not saying that I was the toilet paper pioneer, but I'm telling you it means I wasn't wrong. It means other people had a voice just as annoying as mine and was in their DMs very frustrated about sandpaper toilet paper. And picking the proper food to eat at your desk during raid time is an important thing too, and I think people don't take that seriously enough. I always choose something that is an easy thing, like rice, or something that I can eat with a spoon, pasta, because you can't eat chicken wings during raid. I've tried. You can, but it's going to get everywhere.
Like, I have to resort to, like... It's pretty easy because it's Panda Express and it's cheap, it's easy. I know what's in it, apart from what else is available, so don't judge me.
I like Panda, though. I don't dislike Panda.
Neither do I. I love it. But, during raid, I don't have time to, like, grab a fork and pick at what I need. I just put all of that in one bowl, shit ton of soy sauce and sriracha, and I'm good. I mix that shit, and, mid-raid, I'm like, Harvey, taunt.
I do eat my pasta with a fork, but it's because I don't eat the long pasta typically. I'm more of a mustacholi, a penne, macaroni. I like the smaller pastas, and trying to make sure that you don't drop anything off your fork when you're raiding doesn't make sense. Eat it with a spoon. It just makes sense. It's true. I am really hungry, though. I haven't eaten dinner. I didn't even eat lunch. I had a chocolate bar. Does that count?
Sure.
I really want donuts, though. I haven't had donuts in a while. So, guys. So, no show next week. The good news is the following week you'll hear all about my tales. I am dropping the child off on the 23rd to college. Or 22nd. I don't know. I took the day off. That's going to be an interesting thing. Because I'm going to be left here with the other one. Which, as far as that goes, it could be worse.
Are you going to be, like, crying? Like, ugly crying?
I don't know yet. Like, we all want to say that we're going to be, you know, the pillar of strength for our children, and, you know, we're going to make it okay. But I'm going to be really honest, like, I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. But I'm ready for her to have good experiences, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be one of those moments where, like, I'm super holding it together, but what I don't want to do is make it hard for her, right? Like, I want her to just enjoy, you know, being a young adult and doing college things. And the binge drinking doesn't bother me. Like, her and I have already went over my expectations as her mother. Like, she's going to do things in college, and that's expected, and I want her to have those experiences. But her and I have went over, you know, these are the rules. These are the boundaries that I'm setting forth for you. Like, yeah, go and get shit-faced, but here's the things that you do not do. You know, she's already got her own anti-roofie device. He is a very large young child. And he's, you know, he's already got the rules too. But her and I just went over party safety. Like, if you're going to go do parties and you're going to go drink, here's the rules that you need to abide by and you need to not break, because these are going to be the rules that keep you safe. So her and I have already been through that. You know, me going to binge drink? Maybe. But she will too. But, you know, just throwing that out there. But her and I, like, I'm preparing her as much as you can as a parent. Next week we do birth control for her and my other daughter. I've taken them both on the same day, and I'm there getting the extreme birth control. Because I do not want a phone call that says, "Mom, I'm pregnant," while she's in college. And I do not want phone calls from the other daughter, "Mom, I'm having my second child." I cannot. Hear me. No. That is a big no.
Yeah, you don't want to do that to Ginger.
So they're both next week. They were like, "Well, we don't want this birth control." I don't give a shit what you want. You think you're an adult? No. Being 18 doesn't make it a magical age. Your ass is going down, and we are doing this birth control because I want for 5 years to not have to fucking worry about any more grandchildren. If I could just have my one that I got and just be okay with that, that's good. That's it. I can't do it again. So that is what, like, I am preparing her as much as I possibly can. Though we did have the conversation of, just because you have birth control doesn't mean these things are okay because you don't want to get the AIDS. Anyway, so.
Life advice, fellas. Life advice.
Parenting isn't pleasant. It's very few victories. And the victories are few and far between. But there is victories. I think. Maybe when I'm old and need one of them to take care of me. Though, statistically, I don't think any of them are going to take care of me. Like, I wonder which one's going to be the first one to put me in a home. Elijah. He's the nicest one, which means he's going to be the first one. Anyway, all right. Guys, we're going to get the hell on out of here because we have got shit to do. I honestly need to feed my face. Like, I am starving. Yeah, I'm starving, and I'm shocked Envy's still alive, to be perfectly honest. So, no show next week. We'll be back the following week. And that's when we're going to be doing the things and the stuff in the cha-cha. Watch for the Kickstarter surveys. I'm actually going to hit the button now. I've already got them done. I just need to hit the button. But we are going to get out of here. Look! Fix the outro! I did shit!
Did you?
I did!
Oh, look at that.
I told you, I did things!
Oh my god, I'm way too hungry.
I did stuff. I didn't do all the things I wanted to do, but I did, you know.
I did pot today.
Well, you know how I get down. If I did that, I'd just be asleep.
I know. I need to remind myself not to. Today's flavor is called grapevine. So for you stoners out there, don't be doing grapevine because if you raid and you do grapevine, you're gonna parse really poorly.
Listen,
But that's what
I
it's about,
need an
parsing.
upper, not a downer. It's why I didn't smoke weed a lot in high school and college, because I needed an upper, not a downer.
I got a special sativa that'll wake my ass up and get me psyched for raid, but
I don't want to like be cleaning the ceiling upper, but like I just
I'm talking about weed, not meth.
like
But one day I took the sativa on accident, and I'm sure you remember that raid night.
which raid night?
I think it was an oldie, and I was just shit faced like top.
That's crazy, guys. Weed advice from Envy. He's gonna show you how to properly weed.
I don't know that I can do that properly. I'm just saying, hey, don't do this strain. I'll do it for science. You know, the effects of marijuana while raiding. Like, I would recommend this one.
With that, we're gonna get the hell on out of here officially. I think we should do.
2020.
I watched an ASMR thing the other day as we're heading out, and I think I can do that, guys. But I can't maintain that same tone of voice throughout the entire like session, because that person literally was on point with the loudness of their voice. I don't have an indoor voice, guys. Think about that. I'm going to be selling ASMRs along with my half-eaten Doritos.
She's got a trashy white girl who's always angry voice.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Selling your bathwater next.
Oh my. Cactus will buy it.
Yeah, Cacti probably already pre-purchased it. We love you.